Kenya, please.
Hello. How's everyone doing today? It is Berkfamily54comics. I am Steve. I want to welcome you guys to our Powered Up Comic Book Reviews Thursday Night Chat. Yes, that is our new name that we came up with. Going forward, that's what we're going to be calling our Thursday Night Chat shows. I'm going to bring in my co-host. First, I want to bring in Ryan, who's been joining me for a couple months now. He's also known as Nuexguy. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, what's up, man? It has been a crazy week for new comic books, so I'm so hyped to talk right now because, yeah, there was some really good books going on this week.
Yes, I agree. All right. Before we get to our next person, I do want to comment to TMC Comics. No, he has not come back yet. We are hoping that he does, but it's not looking good. Next, we got Dustin from 2BrothersComics. What's up, Dustin?
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a good week. We got one more day. Let's get through it.
Let's get it. All right. So those are the people that are on my show every week for Powered Up Comic Book Reviews. What we always talk about are the books that we got this week or are going to get this week. And then we review 3 books. This week we got Thor #3. We have Power Rangers, Go-Go Power Rangers #29. And we're going to talk some Flash 88 as well. Those are some 3 books that I'm pretty excited to talk about. Before we do that, I have someone in here, Dustin, who is doing a raffle. When you want to talk about your raffle, how many spots you got left, what it is, all that stuff?
So we're doing a waffle. Got to call it the waffle.
Yeah, that's what Chino and Manny call it.
Yeah, they kind of shut you down. You know, if you don't. I don't know. I think it's like an illegal thing to do or something, depending on what it is. But got a pristine copy here of Ultimate Fallout #4. It's in a nice Mylar. It's already been pressed, and I think I got 9 spots left open at $7 a piece. It's 15 total spots, so pretty good odds. And shipping's on the house. So for $7, head over to 2BrothersComics Instagram and follow the instructions, find the post for the waffle, and as soon as we get those spots filled up, somebody's going to get a copy. Real nice copy for super cheap.
Not a bad book to have with Sony building out their Spider-Verse.
Yep.
He's even
inevitable that he will be in there.
Dustin's even rocking the Miles Morales hoodie. So that's cool. I'm going to post real quick on the old Instagram that we are live. We are live. Okay, here we go.
I also heard, Sony just announced another movie, unnamed so far. I hear the rumor, or at least the theory on it, is Spider-Woman. So that could be an interesting one.
And she, her first appearance was a What If book, right?
That I couldn't tell you.
She-Hulk?
Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman or Spider-Girl, I think, was a What If.
I would say, I'm not saying like Sony's desperate for characters, but they only have rights to the Spider-Man characters. So any Spider-related books you can get, they're probably going to appear somewhere in one of their Universal books, or movies,
Yeah,
absolutely. I want to say something really quick about our. Hey, what's up, 2BrothersComics? We have an open spot if you want to join, man. We're going to be talking some Flash, Thor, and Go-Go Power Rangers. You're always welcome to join. So if you want to, fill up this last spot here on the panel, you are more than welcome to. Just text me because I got your number, and I can add you in there. Tom's Comic Book Reviews, what's up? Okay. So we talked about how we're going to be doing Thor 3, Flash 88, Go-Go Power Rangers 29. We have you're just going to watch. Okay. We have always talked about how we do one DC, one Marvel, one indie. Ryan suggested that maybe we don't always do that going forward. Maybe some weeks we do maybe 2 Marvel, 1 DC, maybe 2 indies, 1 DC, 3 DC, whatever it is. So going forward, we will still review 3 books. I do think we'll have to start getting into some more indies because you both are big independent fans. I'm not a big indie person, so that would be kind of different for me, but I'd like to join in on that as well. So we'll definitely have to keep that in mind going forward. I don't know what's coming out next week, so we're going to discuss that later. But that's what we're going to be doing with our show going forward on Powered Up Comic Book Reviews Thursday Night Chat. Scarpad Comics, what's up?
What's up, Scarpad?
Mad Mike's, what's up? Okay.
Wanna
the show, we always talk about what books do we grab this week or are gonna grab. I will go last. We'll start with Ryan. We'll just go in order here. I have a reason for why I'm gonna go last. So Ryan, what books did you grab this week, dude?
Yeah, so first one up, I grabbed Tartarus. I've heard some good things, and so I was interested in it. It sounds kind of like my sort of thing. I haven't actually got to reading it yet, so don't spoil it. The funniest thing about this, though, it's written by Johnny Christmas and Jack Cole. So that's kind of crazy if that's real names.
Right.
I grabbed Rye number 4. Don't know how much longer I'm going to stick on Rye, but it has been an interesting run. This is like kind of in a desert wasteland, wandering samurai sort of thing. I prefer Rye like in the technological New Japan thing, so I don't know how long I'll stick on it, but it's still a pretty good book. Go-Go 29, of course. I just got the regular cover on that.
Sweet.
And then my other one, I read this today, and it blew my mind. If you have not heard of or checked out Alienated, this is a must-read. Go get it.
Awesome. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Dustin, you got a fat stack this week after last week, or did we go light? Okay, all right, we got about
a rebound.
I did get a few more than I thought I would, but so I did pick up Thor number 3, and I didn't pay attention to which one they had in my box. So I ended up with this goofy Gwen Stacy variant.
Right.
She had her first book out this week, so we have to put her on every comic book this week. So I don't know how she ended up on the Power Rangers book this week, but that was weird. Got the Go-Go cover A. Savage Avengers number 10. Anybody who's not reading this is missing out. The fact that we've got Conan the Barbarian, Doctor Doom, and we got Doctor Strange in some sort of Iron Man suit fighting Cool Goth. Like, it's crazy. It's an awesome story. Kylo Ren number 3 came out this week. Another awesome story. I got the second print to number 2. Venom 23 also came out this week, and it was also a really, really good book. And my shop.
Is Johnny Cage's back on that, or is he not doing it right now?
Oh, yeah. He's actually on the cover this week.
Nice. That is a Scotty Young, right?
Yep. And this is like probably the hottest book of the week, this cover right here. And my shop, they threw it in my box for me. So that was cool. I was able to get one. I didn't even get a cover A. This is the one I got to read. So that was pretty cool to be able to pick that up. But really, really, I jumped on Venom at with 21, I think, when the Venom Island story arc started, which was picking up after Absolute Carnage, and I've really been enjoying it. So
nice. So it's my turn. I'm going to say that I do not have my new comic books yet. Here's what happened. So yesterday, I was in a meeting late after work. When I got off work, it was snowing, pretty good. And I was like, I need to get straight home. I live an hour away from where I work. There's only one comic book shop, and it's near my work, an hour away. And so I did not get to go to it yesterday. Well, today they canceled school because of how cold it was, and roads were icy and frozen over. So I was not able to go to the comic book shop yet. But I did read the 3 books that we're going to be talking about tonight. I did read those online. And those are the 3 books I'm going to get, which is Flash 88. I think I'm going to get the regular cover because I liked it. You're going to get Thor number 3, the regular cover probably, and a regular cover for Go-Go 29 as well, just because I just like the regular covers for all of those. Now, I don't have any books to show, but I do have an unboxing to do. This was a giveaway win from 2BrothersComics. So I'm just gonna go ahead and unbox this right now. What do you think, Dustin? Should I do it?
Go ahead, man. Get it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like your site a lot. Thank you, Phil. All right. Let's see here. So
I definitely agree with you, Southern Comic Geek.
I'm going to go off screen while I open this.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Southern Comic Geek. I mean, it made sense to put her on like, a Spider-Man book, but she was on everything. It seemed like, you got the Thor book. I mean, like, why would she be on that? But it's about the money grabs, and that's cool too. So, I think if I'm not mistaken, maybe this is Gwen Stacy's first standalone. And I think Nebula got her first standalone this week. So you got both of those number ones coming out. Personally, I would have liked to have seen them split them up. I think, Nebula would have made a little more sense even on the Thor cover than Gwen Stacy. But, it's like Wolverine number one's coming out soon. So they're throwing out Wolverines left and right now, trying to get everybody pumped up for that. So, that's just, I guess that's what they do to, try to get people hyped up for stuff. So, I mean, it makes sense because people obviously buying it. So, I just would have rather, for my collection, had the A cover myself.
I have actually heard some pretty good things about that Gwen Stacy book, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people are saying it's actually a pretty interesting read. I personally don't really understand like this and Lois Lane, like why these are like. Right. I don't want to say like they're nobodies, but they're side characters to another character's story. So I think it's kind of weird.
I could see the Nebula one being pretty cool because she's just an interesting character altogether, and she's had her opportunities and her times where she's been a huge part of a story. I mean, look at it, the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, so she's really been a much more prominent character at times, I think. Than a side, just a side character or something, bystander, so that one I could get on board with. I actually may pick that up and check it out. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm ready to show off this book. This was from your 100 subscriber giveaway. You guys kept adding slabs because you reached like 400 subscribers in like a month and a half.
Yeah, I think we're at like 420 right now.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, you guys were at like 97 or 98. So between January 1 and
February 13th.
February 13th, we went from 97 to 420, like you said. So you guys gave away 3 slabs. I came in second place. So I was able to pick the next best prize. Someone above me, they did win a Killing Joke 9.4. I do have a 9.8 right there. Yeah, right there of Killing Joke. I still want another one, but that was okay. I'm excited to show off this book. I'm going to go full screen here. This is a slab. I do not have any of these X-Men books in a slab. So I'm excited to get this. This is New Mutants 18 in a 9.0. This is the first appearance of New Warlock. So it's pretty sweet. I'm excited. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to put this right here.
Nice.
So I appreciate you guys sending it to me so quickly. I think I won it on like Friday or Saturday, and sent it out like literally right away. So I'm excited about that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
This is the only book I got this week.
I saw the 2 Brothers post with all the mail that went out.
Yeah, that was
a nice stack.
That was a huge stack.
With all what now?
He saw the IG post about all the books that you guys sent out.
Oh yeah. We've the last two times we've mailed stuff out, it's been stacks. And then I dropped a couple off today. So yes, it seems like we're always seem to be back and forth from the post office. So
nice. We did try to sell some stuff last week. We did a live sale, sold like nothing. Dustin sold something. I sold nothing. We can try to do that at the end of tonight, or we can try to do it another time. Chino, what's up, man? Here's a Marvel book for you.
Hey.
Chino, who's on? You guys shared the account. I won this from 2BrothersComics. New Mutants 18, 9.0, baby.
Yeah.
So, all right. We got 3 books to talk about. We got Thor number 3, Flash 88, Go-Go 29. Is there any particular book we should start with, you think? Some people in here said they did read Thor, but they did not read the other ones. So should we start with Thor, or should we start with one of the other ones?
Yeah, I think all the books were, pretty much equally good. So wherever y'all want to jump on, we can do Thor since other people have read that one.
Okay, we can do Thor. I read mine digitally, and I don't know, it felt like I did read it, but it didn't feel like I comprehended it as much as I would in person. To me, there's a big difference between reading something in person versus reading it online. I don't know if you feel that way or not. I don't know how much you guys read comic books online. That's just how I feel.
Digital doesn't bother me as much as it does a lot of other people. I will say though, for me, horror books, I love horror comics in digital because I can pull them up on my tablet, sit down in pure darkness and read them in silence, and it really brings in the mood. But most of the other books, I'd rather read those physically.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never really read anything digitally. When I first started collecting, I accidentally bought a couple of books from Comixology. Had no idea that they were digital books. Thought I was getting a great deal on some books, and needless to say, that pretty much just pissed me off. So I was just like, well, I'm never going to do this again. And but yeah, I mean, if it's not something that I can get at my local comic shop, I mean, I'll find somewhere. I mean, like I said, I've got 6 comic shops that I can go to. So, I mean, I pretty much can find anything I'm looking for. But yeah, I definitely, feel like for me, it's easier for me to read, a physical, read a floppy and get what I want out of that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I've read comics digitally less than 10 times. I like to buy the physical copies. I like to have them. I like to reread them. I like to store them. I like to collect them. That's what we do. So going into Thor number 3, we knew that the Thor was going to be battling Beta Ray Bill, which is kind of a big deal. He was kind of been a hot character lately with Thor 337. Is that the correct number, I believe? But at the end of Thor number 2, they met, and in this issue, they battled and battled. What did you guys think of that battle? What did you guys think of the issue?
I thought it was cool how they led into the battle with, talking about some of the old battles Thor's been to and have, not being able to have remembrance of them because, of the life that they as an Asgardian god that he leads, it's, there's you could tell him things and he wouldn't remember them just because it's such a long period of time. But the fact that, this battle that's about to happen is one that he'll remember no matter what happens forever. So that kind of, gave you a good lead in to let you know that, this is going to be a big fight. So I thought that was a really cool way to lead into the fight.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like this issue kind of, it was sort of like building out a way for them to tell a lot more story in this because they kind of decompressed his life and said he's lived so long, he doesn't even remember all these battles. So now they can go back and insert a lot of things throughout his timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also get the fight with Beta Ray Bill, and you get to see Thor. It really just set the bar for how powerful Thor is.
Oh yeah.
Because basically they get into this battle and then he says yeah, you're right. We used to be equal, but now I'm a herald and I have this much power. And so it really set the bar and let us know kind of where Thor's power level is at this point. So it was a cool issue. It set up a lot for the future.
I really, really enjoyed that. It was almost like it kind of takes me back to it's a DC book where the Flash is going crazy, and it's in the original Flash Rebirth where he's going super fast, and Superman says, I can catch you. We've raced before. And he's like, Clark, those were for charity, and he just takes off. Flash beats Superman. Well, this kind of felt like that, where like, you know, Thor and Beta Ray Bill battled before, and maybe they may have been equal before, but at this moment in time, Thor is an utter baller, and he showed that against Beta Ray Bill. Now, there were some good licks going on each side, but definitely Thor destroyed. It felt like to me, he definitely destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Beta Ray Bill.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he says here, in one of the top panels, I think on the 4th or 5th page, not only am I the Herald of Galactus, but I'm also, the All-Father of Asgard. Yeah, there you go, right there.
Right there, yeah, that pretty much sums him up.
Both of those to already being Thor. It's like, dude, what are you thinking? You have no chance. Like, dude, and he straight up guy smacked this dude. I mean, out of the frame.
I agree. You know, comics and more.
So, yeah, I mean, I know in last month's issue, a lot of people, and I think some of us too, were like, okay, this is going to be cool. So these guys are going to fight, like, Beta Ray's here and it's on now, because Thor's got, may have met his match here. And it's like, I know I wasn't thinking about it, but as I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, no, dude, there's no way, man. Like he's about to crush this dude. So,
what I liked about the issue, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but in the first issue, he was having a hard time picking up the hammer. And they kind of reference that a little bit in the second issue. Well, this issue, they reference it again about it's basically talking about all the choices that he's making, but how he's working with or going to work with Galactus to help stop the Black Winter from coming. And Beta Ray Bill says, how can you even lift Mjolnir anymore? And he goes, I'll show you. And he smacks the crap out of him with it.
Yep.
And threatens to rip his arm off.
Who's wielded it before catches it, and he says, don't make me take your arm off with it. Let go. And he doesn't let go. So instead, he takes Stormbreaker, which is Beta Ray Bill's weapon right now, and he destroys it by hitting Mjolnir with it, which I thought was a really, really cool panel.
Yeah, I mean, this splash page showing, Thor just, decimating Stormbreaker is awesome.
It is.
Just to, and kind of really signifies just like the amount of power that he does have now that he's obtained, and how much higher on on a different level he is, than Beta Ray is anymore. So it really just kind of showed, that he's gotten to the point now where he's just, and you see it in the next couple pages where Thor's pretty much unstoppable right now. I mean,
he really is.
Who can take on, somebody who has everything he's got right now, and we don't know where the struggle with him picking the hammer up's going to lead to, but that's about the only thing I can see that, Donny Cates could write into this to give him a weakness would be the struggle with, being able to continue to pick up the hammer.
So what did you guys think about how, like, he was battling Beta Ray Bill, but then Galactus is saying, hey, I own you. And then Thor is like, no, you don't. And you see him change back into his normal self, but still with the new powers. What did you guys think about that? I thought that was pretty cool. It kind of explained some things about how the reason he was looking like that is because he got all that power from being the Herald of Galactus, but he's still Thor, and he is the lead guy in Asgard. So what did you guys think about that?
I think it was really cool because it's just kind of like in the second issue, it's him asserting his, I don't want to say dominance, but basically letting Galactus know, like, I'm here to help you save this universe. I'm not here to help you because I like you or anything, like, an enemy of an enemy is my friend, And
right.
So he just keeps on kind of like reiterating that, like, I still don't like you, Galactus, but I'm doing what I have to save the people,
Yeah, I agree. I like that, it seems like, in every issue, we're going to see something like this where Thor's asserting himself and letting him know, you didn't give me nothing. I took it. I decided to do this. And I'm not your herald like everybody else was, where I'm going to serve you. I'm doing this, with my own intentions, and I'm going about this and doing it my way. We're not going to do it your way. and he has no problem showing him in any time that yeah, you're back to full power now maybe, but we're still not, we're still rocking how I want to. So I really like that Thor's keeps Galactus in check in every issue.
Absolutely. And at the very end, like he's fighting both Beta Ray Bill and Galactus basically the entire book until the very end. Another character shows up that was in the first issue, but she shows up and she's basically saying, I don't agree with the decisions you were making with who you're aligning yourself with, and I'm going to fight you. And that at the end was Lady Sif. So what did you guys think about her showing up at the end? I thought that was a cool panel to end on.
I mean, I don't really know much about her, so it's hard to say where it goes from here, but it did feel a little bit like the end of the second issue, recycled in a way. But I'm sure it's going to go somewhere cool, just like Beta Ray Bill showing up did,
Right.
Yeah, I think they're going to, try to continue to stack the odds against Thor, over and over. But yeah, it definitely felt, recycled. I definitely don't think that this gained the same reaction from people that Beta Ray did. But I think that they would have assumed that was going to be the case anyway. So because of that, I would think she's probably going to be, important to the next issue at some point. So, I mean, I wouldn't think they would bring her in at the end like that and do that if she was just going to get knocked off like Beta Ray did. So, I'm sure we haven't seen the last of either one of them characters. It almost seems like, they're slowly building an army against Thor and Galactus. So,
and Ryan predicted that last time we talked about this story. Actually, he's like, I think we're gonna get another character next issue after Beta is gonna align himself along with Galactus with Thor, all that. I think next issue it'll be similar to this issue. I think the fight will be much shorter, and she'll either decide to be with him or against him. I think they're too good of friends to be fighting. Well, Beta Ray Bill and Thor are considered brothers. They're not like him and Sif. Sif has done many battles with them. So they're either going to have a really short fight or not fight at all, is what I'm predicting.
Yeah, I could see a few punches thrown or whatever, but I imagine less than halfway through that issue, they'll be done with the fight and resolve that, and something else is going to, come to the forefront. Because they also can't keep sidelining Galactus. At some point, they got to bring that whole thing in as well, so.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking at some point the other heralds are that were sitting at the table in the first issue. I'm thinking at some point, they're going to kind of rise against the machine at some point, and I think that would be a cool way to go about it, though, is have them come up as a team, to stand up to Thor and Galactus. But at the same time, I think, they established in the first issue, they know what's going on. They know the reason why. So that actually probably wouldn't work. But I think that's the problem with what's going on with Beta Ray and Lady Sif, is like they don't really understand, what's going on and the repercussions of Thor not doing what he's doing. So, it'd be interesting to see how they go about that, because you would think it's just easy enough to say, hey, this is why I'm doing this. And he kind of alluded to it in this issue when he was fighting with them, but, it didn't really go into a whole lot of detail. So,
I mean, I could see Bill and Sif joining, and, then the heralds all showing up so that they have an army to fight this Black Winter, Because if you have Galactus, Thor, Sif, Bill, and then the rest of the heralds, you have a pretty good army to go up against this Black Winter. So that might be what they're building to as well.
Well, who knows? Maybe Gwen Stacy will come in and just save everybody, right?
Maybe.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm gonna say about Thor, I was not gonna pick it up when it came out. Thor #1, I was not planning on picking up when it came out. In fact, I went to the store and I was like, I'm still not gonna pick it up. But everyone was talking about how good it was, and it's written by Donny Cates. Donny Cates, everything he touches is great. Absolute Carnage was great. Silver Surfer Black was great. I liked
Did you hear that, Nick?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the writing is good. The art is terrible. I really liked God Country. I thought God Country is probably one of the best independent storylines of all time, in my opinion. Amazing. So everything he writes is really good. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give number 1 a whirl, and it was really good. So that's why I'm continuing to pick it up, and I'm pretty happy that I'm doing that. So
Yeah. That was kind of my thing is like, the way this one ended, like I said, it felt a little recycled from the second issue, but I'm not disappointed or like underwhelmed because we know Donny Cates is a better writer than that. So recycling that, there has to be some reason, and he's going to make it really interesting in the next issue.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys got anything else you want to say on that before we move on? All right, cool. I'm excited to keep reading it and talk about it. Southern Comic Geek knows what's up. He said God Country was good. No, it was great. It was great. It really was. I only have the trade of it. Everyone said how good it was, so I picked up the trade paperback, and it was really good. So, okay, next we're going to talk about we're going to save Go-Go Power Rangers for last. So we're going to talk about Flash 88. I think me and Ryan are the only ones that read it. Dustin didn't read it, but that's okay. As a new Flash reader, Dustin
checked out.
As a new Flash reader, we already knew going into this book that we're going to get a first appearance of a character and Paradox. What did you think of this first issue, especially considering you haven't been picking up every single issue like I have? I have every single Flash book since Flash Rebirth #1 back in 2016. So what did you think of this book with the first appearance?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that this was going to be the first appearance of a new villain, or a new villain. And honestly, I'm still so like mesmerized by that final page of the last one. That moment where it's just like run, that just like really sets up what we're going into here. Like Paradox must be, insane. And so this book, I thought it wasn't as exciting of a read necessarily because there was very little like action to it. It was almost like pure exposition, but it was a really cool like story to like set up and tell the backstory of a villain. And I think it's great like coming into it as a new reader because I don't have all that back knowledge like you, but they like completely they completely tell you his whole story in this issue. And I'm sure there's like little Easter eggs here and there that I didn't pick up on, but just the way they tell the story does make it interesting and makes him very sympathetic. And it almost reminds me of Infinity War because it does present him as a protagonist and you can understand his point of view and, why he has such a big problem with the Flash. And it did in a lot of ways kind of make me feel like, yeah, like this guy's right. Like the Flash is kind of being a douchebag by not considering the effects that's going on through the universe because of him,
Absolutely. And, there was, I'm trying to find it in here. There was a nod to the Flash TV show in this issue. I have to find it. But I really enjoyed it. Honestly, the whole book, if you've not read Flash 88 yet, you need to. The whole book is basically about Paradox and about how the Flash has altered his life. And it's a typical, villain story. The good guy is getting all this glory, yet he's doing bad stuff that people don't know about.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a super original backstory, but it does hit all the emotional beats to make you sympathize with him.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree.
Also read Alienated, Boom Kicking Ass.
Oh my God, that book. Dude, that's a must read. You got to check that one out.
Absolutely going to.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I had no issues with it whatsoever. Like there were times I'm like, okay, this is kind of boring, but then like there was a lot of it went up and down, but it was more up than down. It was kind of cool the way they introduced the character. I thought it was interesting because they kept talking about Paradox, in there, because the paradox is what they talked about in the TV show about how it was created with the loop with Savitar back in, I think it was season 3, and how the paradox existed and then it was changed. So I thought it was really good. We got the whole backstory on it. We go to the 25th century at the end of the book where he is trying to figure out where he wants to go. The bad guy paradox is, and that's actually where the Reverse Flash is from, and that's also where Commander Cold is from, who's no longer with us. He died, I think it was 84 or something like that. I want to say 84, 83, maybe 85. I can't remember. I don't know. I thought it was really good. Williamson is just absolutely kicking butt. He even tweeted about how several of the characters that he has created has been on the Flash TV show with Godspeed, and they have Black Hole, and all sorts of stuff happening, which I think it's cool that they're already using stuff that was just created, just 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm really enjoying Flash. There's a lot of stories. Some of them aren't as good as the others. Flash War was great. Godspeed was great. The one we're on right now is great. What I thought was really cool in this book was how it goes back to the year 1, and they also showed a little, like, it felt like there was a little bit of like the Flash, like the Speed Force storm in there too. I don't know. Like, is that when he got his powers, or was it the same night that Barry got his powers? I couldn't tell when I was reading it. I don't know if it's because I'm reading it online versus in person.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I do want to recheck that because I did double look at those panels, because I think that was the same night that Barry got hit, but like his equipment got hit, not him. So I think that's part of where that like weirdness came from. Is like he didn't get hit directly. His like equipment gets hit, I think.
Yep.
So, but I mean, yeah, he was, like I said, it set him up pretty good. I think it's really cool. Basically, he got sucked out of time because the Flash was like too close to him, but his family didn't. So he
doesn't
pretty,
exist there.
yeah. So like he's very upset with the Flash because he lost his family. But part of his abilities is that he feels the timeline and the time force. So every time that the timeline changes, he feels like physical pain over that. So therefore, that's part of what he has such a big issue with the Flash is because every time, Barry changes something, he's in pain over it. Plus, he's also lost his family.
Right. I thought it was an interesting panel in here where he's building his machine. It looked like I don't know if you read, gosh, what was that? It was the story by Scott Snyder, Dark Knight's Metal. It looked like the same machine that they used. I gotta find this here. There it is, 906. It's basically the same machine that's used in all of the Crisis show, in all the Crisis comics. So I thought that was cool that they showed that basically the same machine. Here is, I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh yeah. No, that's the one he uses to get back out of time, right?
Connected to that lightning rod and all that. So
yeah, which that to me was also really cool because they spent a lot of time up until that point making you kind of sympathize with Paradox, and then in that particular scene, he basically sacrifices a bunch of people so he can get back to where he wants to be, and so that really cements him as like a bad guy, so that. Although you're sympathizing with him, you also realize, but yeah, he's not a good guy either.
Right. I definitely agree. Overall, I thought the book was really good. It honestly kind of exceeded expectations for me, honestly. I thought, I was like, okay, going in, I already know it's just going to be basically about this new character, and it was really good. It made you, like you said, made you sympathize with this new character, but also realize he's still a villain. And he's, his body is altering over time. And at the end, when I was looking at him, it honestly looked like a Doomsday meets Thor meets Speed Force is what I felt like. It was like, here it is.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like
like a very big like brute, you know.
or in the Speed Force. If you put all of those together, that's what it looks like to me. Maybe
Yeah,
even a little bit of gosh, what is that guy's name? Bizarro and Darkseid too. If like you mix all of those characters into one, that is who you get. And I thought that was a cool way to design that monster for sure.
Yeah, going into this book, I kind of figured it was going to be like a, actiony Flash story where they kind of weave Paradox's backstory into it. But also, I kind of assumed we were about to get like another speedster, and instead we got like this big brute,
Did you see who that was at the end? Did you know who it was who he was talking to?
I don't even remember what the last panel looked like.
This guy?
Oh yeah, that is Godspeed, right?
It is Godspeed, yes. And
yeah, because I just finished issue number 3 of the Flash, and that's whenever Godspeed shows up. So I do know what he looked like.
Yeah, Godspeed. He's kind of a villain, but he's also kind of like an anti-hero. He has helped Barry after the first 8 issues of the Flash, because he's actually a good person. He just doesn't. He can't put his. He has too much rage. And he's trying to be a better person, but he does, like I said, he does have too much rage. Yeah, thank you for coming back, Tom. I'm just now seeing this. So overall, I really like the book. I'm excited for the continuing run of this. We're gonna get to issue 100 pretty soon, probably by summer. So that's gonna be cool. I'm excited to see how much they delve into Wally, considering he's gonna get he's basically gonna be the Dr. Manhattan of the DC universe going forward, and he's the fastest Flash. So I wonder how much he's going to make an appearance in the Flash going forward. Because yes, I just showed my own comment. He is the fastest Flash. He's showing up many times in the Flash run right now. So I'm excited to see how much he shows up going forward. You got anything else you want to say on Flash before we move on to Go-Go 29?
No. Why don't you two go in on Go-Go? I need to step off camera for just a second, but I'll be listening.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so Go-Go 29 came out this week, and you've been like reading it in like a different order, a different way.
Yeah, so I've read. I picked up the trade for Volume 1 and Volume 2. I've read both of those this weekend. I'm gonna grab Volume 3. I know Volume 6 just dropped last week, but yeah, I'm basically reading like a volume. I'm buying 1 volume per week, and I pretty much read it in a day. And then I'm grabbing the current series and kind of keeping up with what's going on right now. So given the fact that it is a new story arc, that helps. But there's still some stuff that I'm sure I would make a little more sense if I had already been caught up all the way.
So far, basically what's happened, the last issue you kind of got screwed because it was like an off one shot about Rita. But the previous issue, we figure out how Tommy got his White Ranger powers.
Yeah, I read that one. That's where I started.
That was an amazing issue.
Yeah, that was cool.
So this issue, he does have the White Ranger powers, but it kind of delves into how he's the new leader, and he's not always going to make the right decisions. Which I thought was cool. They kind of judged him a lot in this issue.
Yeah.
And that's to be expected. I did like the way that Jason handled it. I don't know if he would have handled it that way had he not known about Draken and how he has to form this new team or not. Maybe it would have been different. Who knows? But he handled it really well. And then, at the end of it, him and Trini and Zach go off on this little secret mission without telling anyone else, as basically the new Omega Rangers without their powers yet. I mean, they morph into their Mighty Morphin One powers that they have, and they go off on a secret mission, and they find Kaya, which ends up joining as Omega Rangers. So it's interesting that that's the very first person they go after, which makes sense, honestly. And I really, really, really liked how we already know she's bad. And so, like they're saying in there, there's all this morphin energy, but we have to remember what Z said, that even though they have this energy, that doesn't mean that they're always good. They could be evil as well. So what did you guys think about that line? What do you guys think about the book?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. It's still weird for me, reading this after, staying on track with the Mighty Morphin series and reading this coming up behind it, kind of following a similar storyline. So that's a little weird for me right now. Just wondering, how close it's going to stay, or if they're going to mix it up a good bit just to keep it fresh and different. But I really enjoy the artwork on this series 1,000 times more than what's going on in Mighty Morphin right now. I hate the artwork in it. This is artwork that I really, really like seeing a lot more, minus one panel in here where Tommy's legs look like they're kind of like broken and he's doing like this weird reverse Elvis leg bend thing going on. But I like that Saba came off as kind of a real dick in this one too. Like, please don't ever make me be a part of that power gun thing. Like, please never mount me on that, and, kind of like, agging Tommy on a little bit. So I thought that was cool to see that interaction because, Saba, once he got the powers in the show, Saba was his own character. So I like seeing, them giving him his own personality and his own character in here too.
I liked how he basically said, "I thought you were the one in charge, Tommy."
Right.
I thought that was interesting that they did that. What did you think, Ryan, of that part in the book, and then the later when they see Kaya?
Yeah, I thought this book was kind of full of like a lot of I guess reverse foreshadowing, like as readers, we know what happens like right there at the end with Kaya. It really is a bad guy, but even they're not going to know that when they first meet her,
Right.
And then, yeah, like you were saying, like Saba, he comes off kind of like cocky, but I felt like, I don't know, in a way I could see that as just another test. Like maybe he's trying to test Tommy's ego to make sure he really is as pure of heart as we, know him to be. So I think that could be an interesting little play there. And I think a lot of this is a little bit contrived because it's a lot of like Zordon didn't quite tell you this or he didn't tell you that, playing with a lot of plot holes in like the original show and stuff. But at the end of the day, I really like this issue because it felt like a return to style. The last couple Mighty Morphin issues have been strange. We got that weird Go-Go Rita issue last time. So this issue, it was a lot of fun to me just because it felt like we were finally getting back to the necessary evil story and what the Rangers are, Felt like a return to style in a lot of ways.
It almost felt like a return to style from like the original 1 through 21, where there was a lot more sit-down panels, a lot more like talking about like, drama stuff. I mean, there was a lot more like questioning others versus, hey, the team is doing great, all that stuff. And I thought that was the right thing to do when you have a change of guard at top. And, and Ryan Parrott has talked about that in the Ranger Danger podcast about how, it's not an easy flow to go from one person as a leader to the next. And I thought he did a really good job of putting that pen to paper for sure.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was kind of cool because I thought it was kind of cool too because I think we've always assumed that like Jason was sort of like pushed out or Tommy just kind of like asserted the role or something, but to see them kind of like actually working through it and passing the torch, that really reshapes the dynamic of how we see the White Ranger and the second season of the show and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean it's totally different too because in the series, he didn't actually. I don't think he actually became the White Ranger until Jason had already left. At that time, he was gone, so it was like it was just a perfect transition. I think
Jason was still there.
Was he there?
He was still there.
Oh, okay.
And they panned to him like first, and he goes, "Awesome."
Oh, okay. Okay, then I'm wrong. Then okay. So disregard all that. On to the next thing I was going to say is, from listening to Ryan Parrott talk about these issues, and the monsters, and Kyle Higgins kind of seemed like he was the same way, where they have so much fun coming up with their own monsters. And while it's just completely ridiculous, I mean, we get the gunmetal kettle, a monster teapot,
Right.
with like these action figure looking legs. Like you can see the bends and the articulations in the knees and in the hips and the legs. Stuff like that, where, they come up with the idea, they give it to the artist. This is what I'm looking for. And, they come up with this stuff. And then the hedgehog at the end, it's just, the fact that they're able to come up with these fresh monsters, and they're still just as silly as what they would have come up with on the show. But, they still find a way to make them seem threatening at the same time. So, I know that, in the next podcast, he's probably going to talk about, how much he loved these two monsters here. Cause I mean, that just seems to be something he always hits on, is how much he enjoys, coming up with these crazy monsters that he comes up with.
I want to know, what the heck is Zed up to? Like, what is he up to right now? Because he's
Draken. I wonder if they have Draken in there. He's trying to break him out, maybe.
Well, because we do know that Grace Sterling was housing Draken in the back. We do know that. So I don't know. That's a good way to put it, Dustin. Maybe that's what he's going for. He's like, I'm going to go break out whatever they got in there, and we'll figure out who it is. And I do think it's Draken, like you said as well.
Yeah, that was kind of a name drop I wasn't expecting either. Whenever he was like talking about, very few people, this, that, and the other. And then I was like, I wonder if he's going to like call out Billy or something, And then Grace Sterling, I was like, oh, yeah, there has been some stuff there. So I'm interested to see how all that's going to play out.
And I know he was talking about in Mighty Morphin for issue 50 is going to be the return of a beloved character to the series. And I don't think he was talking about Go-Go, because we know it's ending. I think he was talking about Mighty Morphin. So that kind of made me think, like, yeah, Draken's he's a bad guy, but everybody loves that character. So it made me kind of think, I don't know if this is like a prelude to, him returning to the series somehow, or what. But I mean, I couldn't think of anybody else that, he would be going in there to get. I mean, but for him to go to that extent of breaking into Promethea, like, it's got to be something big.
Yeah, I do wonder.
They're bringing back the Ranger Slayer. She's on the cover for issue 50. I think that's who they're bringing back. I said this a long time ago, that I thought that she was going to be the 5th Ranger to that Omega Rangers team. We already had a blue. We already had a red. We already had a yellow. We had all that stuff. We had all these colors, right? We didn't have a pink Ranger.
Yeah.
And I thought that she was going to join the team and be the 5th Ranger. And well, obviously now that the Omega kind of broken up, so that doesn't really work. But I did call that she was going to be joining the team. So
yeah, and I think she is coming back, but I don't know if she's what they're holding down there, and I don't know if she'll be back that soon, because they also have her backstory coming out for Free Comic Book Day in May.
Oh, really?
So that's a little farther down the line.
Do we know if Necessary Evil ends with issue 50 of Mighty Morphin, or is it going to go past that? Do we know?
No,
yet?
it ends.
Is it? Oh, yeah, because what's his name? Deniculo, I think. He's the one that said, he turned in his final work for Necessary Evil with number 50. So, yeah, we do know that it ends really soon, like in 2-3 more issues.
Yeah, and
you guys keep talking. I got to plug in my computer. I got to go get my charger.
And I know he kept talking about, like, they're working on something else. Something else is coming, or he's already in the works on it. So, like I said, I think I was talking about it on my Instagram live stream the other night. They're ending Go-Go not because of sales or anything like that. He said it was just, this was always what it was meant to be when he took over and all. So I think, this is, going to be replaced with something else. I don't think that it's just going to be limited to just being Mighty Morphin now, which is crazy. Cause I mean, it's like I said, whenever I shot out my first Twitter the other day, if that's how you say it. I've never used it before, but told Ryan Perry, you know, he is a huge workhorse for Boom Studios. I mean, writing 3 books at one time is just that's crazy, especially to be putting out, you know, as good a content as he is too. So, you know, I'm excited to see what goes on with that past the Necessary Evil. I do think this has been better than the Beyond the Grid event by far. But as far as
the grid sucked, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't even finish reading it yet. So, you know, when they started advertising Necessary Evil, it was, you know, advertised as an event bigger than Shattered Grid or as big as Shattered Grid. And I wouldn't say it's lived up to that. We're not finished yet, but in my opinion, it still hasn't lived up to that. But I am interested in the Ranger Slayer because I know that she was a lot more prevalent in Go-Go. Actually, the end of volume 2, the last page was her first appearance. So I'm just now really digging into that character. So I'm interested to see, you know, what happens with that one. I'm excited to kind of, you know, learn what that character is about. So. Speaking
of Twitter, Ryan Parrott made quick work of me talking about how Tommy always gets benched. It's true though. He has been getting benched like all the time. But he did make work of me by saying, well, he was only benched for 1 issue in Necessary Evil, and I did not write Shattered Grid, and he's kind of the main focus of TMNT Power Rangers, which he is, but he's not at the same time. You know what I mean? Like he is, obviously that's whole story revolves around him, but he's not he's not fighting the whole time. Everyone else is talking and he gets like one scene while he's in a cage. So I stand by my word.
Well, I mean, that's all 3 of those instances, though, is the story completely revolves around him, but it revolves around him, not with him, you know?
Yeah.
Like all the stuff in Shattered Grid is because of Tommy, but he's not there. Necessary Evil, it's all about Tommy becoming the White Ranger, but he's not really there a lot of times. And TMNT PR is, you know, it's all because of him that the Rangers and the Turtles have even met, but he lost his powers right at the beginning, so he's really not there, you know?
I mean, someone else is the Green Ranger right now for 2 straight issues, basically. We got the Green Ranger Shredder instead of Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, for 2 straight issues. So don't tell me that you haven't been benching them.
At the same time, you know, to try to kind of play devil's advocate on that, I mean, that's kind of who the character has always been, though. I mean, you know, think about the TV series. You know, there was so many episodes, you know, strung together in a row where you might see him a little bit in the beginning, but you don't, you know, he doesn't go in with the rest of the team right off the bat with the putty fights. He doesn't jump in when the monster shows up. He doesn't jump in when they get the Megazords out. Once they're on the ground getting stomped out, you know, Tommy shows up, saves the day, gets all the glory. The rest of the Rangers have had the crap kicked out of them for 20 minutes of this show. And, you know, he gets, you know, he's the one that gets the payoff. And I love the character. But I think, you know, the biggest thing with him is, you know, getting that big payoff with him at the end. And, you know, the amount of waiting and, you know, the anticipation of when is it going to happen? When's he going to come in and save the day? When are they going to let him let loose? You know, that just builds up when it happens. You know, you get this satisfaction of, okay, it finally happened. And, you know, I mean, and you always got in the back of your head, like they can kill him off or whatever, but you know, he's coming back. He's the flagship character. So, and there's a lot of people that hate that character and hate Jason David Frank because they feel like he overshadows everything. And it's like, well, it's not necessarily an overshadowing, but he made the franchise. So
yeah, I mean, as a person in real life, he has been the strongest shepherd of the brand. Like him and Saban are basically why it's still prevalent, you know, 25, 30 years later.
Absolutely.
JDF is Power Rangers. For real. And you were saying the correct thing, Dustin. They did sideline him a lot on TV. I think part of that was because they did run out of Green Ranger footage to use. And so they're like, okay, you're still in the episode, but we can't use you because we don't have any other Super Sentai.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was definitely the case at one point, too. Absolutely. You know, but I think it gets to the point, too, where they, you know, they don't want you to get tired of him or get bored with him. So it's kind of that, you know, the absence makes the heart grow fonder thing.
maybe it. I mean, we are over here complaining about it, and we'll probably come
once he
back.
finally shows back up at the end of Shattered Grid, everybody is like, oh, great, he's back. It's gonna, and when they killed him off,
it was dumb. By the way,
do what?
The way Shattered Grid ended was the dumbest way possible.
Yeah, it was phoned in.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I thought it was terrible the way they ended that, for sure.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Ryan Parrott knew what his audience wanted, and when he's doing this crossover with TMNT, he knew the fans wanted more Green Ranger, so he brought in the Green Ranger in the crossover versus bringing in the White Ranger. So I thought that was really good, and I also thought he could have included either one of those or neither. He could have just done the original 5 as well if he wanted to. So I thought that was cool that he was able to bring in Green Ranger, because Green Ranger is the best. He's the best.
Yeah, I mean, it would make a whole lot of sense to have the White Ranger in all 3 series at the same time. So,
best Power Ranger villain.
And I think he said too, his whole thing with the what's up, Ryan? His whole thing with the TMNT series was he wanted people to be able to jump into that without a whole lot of prior knowledge. So he tried to set everything as in the early beginning stages, the first set of Power Rangers and the original Turtles, so that if you had a little bit of knowledge of one but you really like the other one, you could really enjoy this story regardless. So I know he talked about that a little bit too, but yeah, I like the Green Ranger best too, absolutely. But I mean, I don't know. I think I'm enjoying Necessary Evil on the Go-Go better than I am on Mighty Morphin right now. I don't really know how much I really like the Omega Rangers too much.
I was the same way at the beginning first. I was the same way. I'm liking it more now with the Go-Go interlinking them.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Did you guys notice the throwback to Power Rangers in space?
Whenever.
Oh, you mean when they're on the ship?
Yeah, I think it was
Space Adventure.
Said, this Power Rangers in space mission.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not notice that, dude. See?
Yeah.
I catch things that I miss, and I appreciate that.
So what's
this?
Yeah,
it was in the dialogue. Yeah, he basically refers to it as a Power Rangers in space adventure.
What is that? That's Z or Xi, however you want to say it. That's basically Alpha.
I was calling him 11 or X1.
You can call him.
It was like Roman numerals.
I think Brian Parrott said you can call him Z, Xi, 11, whatever you want. But he said he would call him Z.
Okay.
Yeah, I went with Kaya and Z from the beginning.
Yep.
So to me, that's what they sound like.
I remember being super confused when both of them showed up for the first time with the Mega Rangers. I'm like, this is weird. But you start to get more and more backstory of Go-Go and Mighty Morphin intermixing. The crossover storyline has been really good overall. I feel like it's actually been better than Shattered Grid. Even though Shattered Grid, you got all these different Rangers from all these different times. I feel like this one is more like smaller,
concise.
better. Yeah, concise. Way better. You basically got 10 people that the story's about, plus all these little extra fillers versus 100 different Power Rangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
There was too much going on. It almost felt like we're in like season 12 of The Flash with like 12 different shows interlinking at one time. Versus it was better when there was just the very first crossover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do feel like Shattered Grid, that was part of the problem with getting to the end of that, is like it got too big for Higgins to maintain because he didn't quite know all of those extra Rangers well enough to bring them in, but the brand itself needed them all to like show up and represent, and so I think that's where it started to fall apart a little bit, is he just wasn't able to contain it all the way that he needed to.
What's the word, Bird? What's up, Metaphorical? Thanks for joining us.
But my theory for a long time has been that Go-Go needed to end. I thought they were going to end it with Forever Rangers and cut that line and then go into an event and they continued Go-Go into the event, which I thought it would have been better if it was just more Mighty Morphin. And then once they introduced the Omega Ranger idea, I'm like, yeah, why didn't they cut Go-Go, just run Mighty Morphin through Necessary Evil, and then spin out the Omega Rangers into their own lines? So since they've announced that they're ending Go-Go, I kind of suspect that's what it is. They know they can't maintain 3 Ranger books, so they're dropping the one that kind of makes sense to end now that we've caught up in time to where Tommy's there, and they'll probably spin out into an Omega Ranger book and Mighty Morphin. Because I do think that Boom kind of wants their own Rangers brand, you know. I think that would benefit them a lot to have something unique to them, you know.
I think the smartest way for them to do this is to have one book, like you said, Mighty Morphin. They can have these other little, you know, crossovers. They could even do like, you know, just like a 3-issue thing on, you know, the Space Rangers or Time Force or any of those for the people that want those, you know, maybe even just one shot. They have to keep Mighty Morphin, and they have to keep it with the original team, or the original team plus the 3 new people. Otherwise, they're going to lose readers, and that's exactly what happened in Beyond the Grid. I didn't even pick it up. I read through like issue 32, and I started picking it up again at issue 39. I know there's a ton of people that were dropping it during that time as well, because it did not have the original Rangers. People were not interested in it. They want the original team. They want something to feel different, but they want it to be the same at the same time. So
yeah, and I have read all of Beyond the Grid just because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss something when it all got back to where it needed to be. But I wasn't excited about those books, and I did like just kind of stack them away and then read them once I knew they was going back to what I liked, you know. Ultimately, I think there was a lot of really good big ideas, and I could see how the pitch sounded good. The details in the writing is where it fell apart. I think their goal with it, though, was to basically build like a team and a story where they could cycle through different Rangers, you know, so people could get whatever Ranger they like the most.
I still think that they need to do a one-shot with every single Power Ranger, whether it's a couple this week or just one every week, building up before they do another event. I think that they need to do a single one-shot, whether it's a day in the life of one of them or one of them gets sucked to another planet or they're going to do their own mission. They need to do a one-shot of every single Ranger before the next event, or maybe even during the event of how it's happening. I think that'd be cool. I also think we need more time travel involved somehow. They got to figure out a way to maybe either do Grace Sterling's team versus the team now, or the original team of the Green Ranger versus the team now with the White Ranger and the new people going head to head, or something. They got to figure out that way. That's what I think. That they need my ideas. I would solicit my ideas. They also need a Green Ranger, a solo Green Power Ranger story. I don't want like the JDF story they did about his kid. That was good, but not as good as it could be with just a solo Green Ranger story. So that's what I think. Those are my ideas on the Power Rangers. If you want my help, Ryan Player or anyone at Boom, let me know. I'm definitely here for that.
I'd like to see like and no, Ryan, I do not want them to ever do that. Thank you.
Do what?
Hey, look, it's a new guy. Got a rookie in here. What's up, Perry? I would like to see the dinosaurs go away and get the Ninja Megazords in and do like they did in the original movie, have a mini series of them, going after that, ancient ninja warrior powers. And I'd like to see a mini series on the Zeo Rangers, maybe, 10 issues, bring in the, Jason as the Gold Ranger.
Yeah.
I think that would be something that was cool. That was the last series I watched from Zeo, and the only reason I watched that is because Tommy was still there. They brought Jason back as the Gold Ranger, and at that time I think I liked Jason more than Tommy. Just, obviously he had the coolest suit, on the team by far at that point. But I definitely think that the mini series and the one shots would be cool.
What if they showed?
But I'd like to see them change up the Zords and have them, do a story. It doesn't have to go with the movie. But something really cool like that, you know, where they're going after a new power.
I think they will. I think they're going to do that in the next event. I think you have the right idea there. How cool would it be if they did something similar that they did with Jason, how they showed him the past and how Draken was there? What if they did something very similar to that with Tommy, and they showed him the future, all the different iterations of him as the Red Zeo Ranger, as the Red Turbo Ranger, as the Black Dino Thunder Ranger? What if they did all of that and they showed him and they did like a whole issue on that? I feel like that would be a pretty sweet issue. You know what I mean? Where he's like looking forward in time and he's not quite sure why he's there or how he's there. He's just got all these new powers and he's like trying to figure it out. I feel like that would be another cool idea to explore, considering his mythology and the different iterations he's had as a Power Ranger.
You just get a panel of him saying, Jesus, man, I'm a 40-year-old man still running around in spandex. Are you serious?
Oh, shoot.
The only reason why he gets a pass for it is because he is a legit badass. I mean, all the way. The dude has stepped into the cage and annihilated people. I mean,
he can still annihilate all three of us.
And I've watched the guy's fights. I mean, he's had people, you know, talking trash, you know, all the way up to the fight, and he walks in there and, you know, hits the guy right in his mouth right off the bat. I mean, takes these guys out. You know, he's got all of his martial arts, you know, that he is, you know, like 6 black belts in. You know, I don't know how that goes, but I mean, you know, you watch him on Instagram. I mean, he picks up all these different weapons. Like, he knows how to use them. You know, he's not just an actor. I mean, the dude he's legit. So, I mean, that's something cool about him for sure.
That's what I want to see in TMNT Power Rangers. Outside, we keep talking about how the turtles are going to morph into Power Rangers. I want to see the Power Rangers using the Ninja Turtle weapons. I think that.
Oh yeah, without their power, that would be really interesting. Yeah,
without the power. Okay. So we don't have these powers. So what do? Here, take our weapons. I feel like that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yes. But I mean, in the show and especially in the comic, like, they're very well represented as like martial artists beyond just the powers they have. You know, like they're augmented. They're not, you know, giving them something they don't have naturally.
Do you think Saba is more powerful than the Battle Blaster? Because he said he doesn't want to be mounted on top of it. I don't know if that means he will be in the future or not. Maybe he will. But do you think Saba is more powerful than the Blaster?
I don't see it, but
yeah, I mean, the thing with the show is we never really got an idea of like what Saba was capable of. So everything we know is what we've seen in the comic, and
all he can do is
potentially
shoot out of his eyes. I mean, he's got the Superman power, and that's it. He can fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes. So,
yep.
But I don't see where he would even fit in to the Power Blaster either, though.
Yeah, that'd be a weird combination.
I don't know. Or maybe they put it in the back and they hold the staff and his mouth is right there and it shoots it with it. Who knows? You guys got anything else you want to say on any of the books we talked about tonight? Power Rangers, Thor, Flash? Because I got to jump off here and get my kid to bed.
No, move on to show your book of the week.
Oh, are we doing a book of the week?
We always show the read, you know, your favorite read of the week. So I thought,
well, I don't have any books, but
well, your New Mutants book.
My pickup of the week is my win. 2 Brothers Comics 100 subscriber plus giveaway. New Mutants 18 first appearance of New Wartlog 9.0. That's my pickup of the week. Just unboxed tonight. Ryan, you go next.
Of the 3 books we read, probably Power Rangers, just because it was a return to style. But I definitely think Alienated has been my favorite book that I've read out of everything this week. It blew my mind. I did not expect what it was. So, really good book. Must read.
And for me, out of the books that we picked this week, I don't know. I would probably say, you know, Thor. Power Rangers was good too. Really just digging this Thor series though. But my overall favorite for the week was Venom. It's really getting cool with them really elaborating on Dylan and seeing what is going to happen with this character and him basically sitting there playing with the symbiote and you know, the abilities it's given him. Just, you know, he's infecting the symbiote, not the other way around. And watching Eddie Brock, you know, having to power through all the stuff that's happening with him on the island. So that was really cool. I enjoyed that book this week for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you, Dustin. I couldn't really pick between Thor and Power Rangers, but if I had to choose, I'd probably pick Thor just because I thought it was really good. All three I'd put on the same level playing field. I liked all three a lot. All right, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. We're going to get everyone to bed here, and I guess we're going to try to sell some books later. Someone said we should try to do that this weekend on whose channel was it? Metaphoricals. Okay, perfect. Okay, Ryan, you say goodbye. Dustin, you say goodbye, and then I'll say goodbye.
Yeah, check me out on Instagram. I'm constantly posting stuff, so I'll probably be doing a post on Alienated because that book was phenomenal. And I'm trying to get back to The Flash. I'm on issue 4, so I want to get caught up on that. So check me out on Instagram and Twitter, right there at Nuexguy.
Perfect. Dustin.
All right, so you know, you guys can check us out on our YouTube channel, 2BrothersComics. We're always dropping content. Also, if you go to our Instagram, we are doing a waffle for Ultimate Fallout #4, $7 a spot. I got 8 spots left if you want to jump in on that. And then next Friday, I'm going to be hanging out on the Boy Who Had Sevens channel, and I'm going to be fighting somebody in the Comic-Gories battle. So be looking out for that. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Nice.
All right, guys, I'm going to end this with a joke, and then I'm going to say goodbye. Did you know you guys probably saw this meme, actually. Did you know that diarrhea is hereditary?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It runs in your genes. All right, I am Berkfamily54comics. I'm Steve. Thanks, everyone, for watching our Powered Up Comic Book Reviews, which is the name of our Thursday night comic book chat. Thank you, Ryan and Justin, for joining us tonight. I had an excellent time. Thank you, everyone, for being in the chat. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Berkfamily54comics or subscribe to my channel, Berkfamily54comics. I'm Steve, and remember, go Cats, go Chiefs, we're Super Bowl champs. Oh.